Hey friends, so this is pretty much my 9-month update. It's towards the end of December, so we're gonna say a full 9 months, almost. And I have a lot to update you on, so I'm gonna try and stay on track, but I've been known to ramble. But first off, I'm wearing my year of return Ghana shirt because I'm jealous that I'm not in Ghana for Afrochella right now, and I have like 3 friends who are going this year, 2 who are already there, and I'm currently sitting in my kitchen in Seattle while it's raining outside. So I'm a little depressed about that, but you know, I'm pretending that I'm there by wearing this shirt. I'm also gonna talk a little bit about, there's actually a legit reason why I wish I was there and just in sun in general, but I'll get to that. So where to even start? First off, I stopped moisture withdrawal. You know, it like helped up to a certain point, and then it just seemed like I kept going through the same cycles of like dryness and like feeling like I was clearing up and then getting dry again. And what I'm learning is that it seems like my body needs different things at different times. So one day, you know, using shea butter feels really good, and then the next day not putting on any moisturizer feels really good. So I'm trying to just be conscious of what my body needs on any given day, which is difficult because sometimes I really don't know. I actually recently made a mixture of like shea butter, coconut oil, lavender. I think I put some vitamin E in there and avocado oil. And it seemed like it was helpful for a few days. And then after a while, I was like, I think this is just irritating me. So it's kind of hard to figure out what I need. But again, I'm just trying to listen and pay attention. It's been very up and down, to be honest. Like the backs of my knees down to like my calves have been very inflamed. So this is the backs of my knees on October 21st, and it was very itchy and inflamed. And then here on December 26th, you can see I've lost a lot of pigment. There's a lot of hypopigmentation happening, and it's spread even further. Pretty much all of my arms, I don't know if you can like tell in this video, but like all of my arms, my hands and my wrists as usual. My hands actually appear to be clearing up here. This is October, beginning of November, but I was dealing with lots of cuts on my fingers and inflammation on the inside of my wrists and hypopigmentation on the insides of my elbows. As you can see on both arms. And then here, this is December 1st. After scratching a lot, this is what happens. There's like a big patch on my lower back and my face and my neck. And what I've been noticing is that I've been getting period flares, which I've heard of other people talk about it. And I've never really noticed it for myself. Not to say that it hasn't been happening, but it's been so apparent for like the past 2 months that I'm like, oh yeah, this is definitely happening around my period. And so it seemed like I was getting better. And then I had like 2 flares where like my face was really puffy, eyes were swollen, just really, really flaky and super duper dry. And then I like calmed down, and then when it's time to like gear up for the next period, it starts up again. So that's happened twice now. And I felt like I was getting better last week, and now I'm feeling like really dry again. And so I'm wondering, I'm not on my period yet, but I'm wondering if this is like ramping up for like the period flare in a few days. So we'll see. I hope not. Part of the reason why I wish I was in Ghana is because it's winter and it's cold and it's wet and there's like barely any sun. And I really noticed an improvement when I was sitting out in the sun every day. I got pigment back in my face and like my arms and my legs. And if you can see, like this is like the color that I am, and this is all like color that I've lost. And I got this color back, and now it's kind of like leaving again. And I think it's just because it's winter and I'm not in the sun and getting like the vitamin D that I need. So that's frustrating. But to take care of my skin, I've still been doing, you know, the Dead Sea salt baths. Sometimes I put like tea tree oil or lavender in it. I was putting like a little jojoba oil in there. Another thing that's been happening like off and on when I'm really inflamed is that like my hands sting when I wash them. So it's not all the time, but sometimes when it's really inflamed, or if I've like scratched a lot and there's raw skin, it really stings. Same sometimes with my face and my neck. So again, it's like it goes through cycles. Sometimes it's more sensitive than others. Right now, it was worse than this a few days ago, but like right now, you can see like if I come close enough, there's like flakage here, you know, stuff going on as always. This side of my face, the right side, is always worse. Also, in like maybe like 2 flares ago, my eyebrows had been growing back, and now I've lost some of the hair that grew back because this area really flares. And you can see like, you know, the dryness up here, and again, the different colors. There's even like a little red spot because I scratch the skin off. Last time I updated, I was talking about the cysts and the pustules that I was getting all over my body. So the pustules have really calmed down. I get like a few here and there, but like before it was like so extreme. And that's something that happened the last time I went through topical steroid withdrawal. So I think that's just like a common thing in this process. But it's really calmed down. And as far as like the painful cysts, I'd gone for like maybe a month without them. And literally last night I noticed one on my calf and one on my lower back. Really small compared to how they were and not as painful. This is a cyst on my arm from November 11th, so you can see how big they used to get. So it's like this thing that it kind of like comes and goes, I guess. But again, with that, I use, that's kind of why I made the mixture with the coconut oil and the lavender oil, because they're antimicrobial, and they, I know that like with the pustules and the cysts, that's a sign of staph infection. So I want to make sure that, you know, I'm not spreading any germs around my body, or like, and I'm getting rid of any bacteria that may be growing or living there. One thing that's changed in like the overall protocol that I'm doing is I've started acupuncture. And I did use a topical, I guess it was like an ointment that had like Asian herbs in it, Chinese herbs. It didn't really make a difference. And to be honest, I'm not sure if the acupuncture is really making a difference. I do enjoy acupuncture because it's, for me, it's relaxing. Overall, things have improved, but it's just so up and down right now. I've also been working on doing more yoga and breathing exercises. It's called biofeedback that my naturopath has recommended that I do. And it's basically just slowing down your breath so that when you're faced with stressful situations, you can go back to your breathing to calm yourself down. And so, yeah, I've just been working on making these things more of a habit in my life, because I know that diet is important. Reducing the overall toxicity in my life is important, but also reducing stress. Like stress management is really important when it comes to eczema. And I know that that's something that I really need to work on. So, yeah, yoga and breathing and journaling are 3 things that I really use to help me with stress management. And also just keeping some sort of positive mindset, or the reason why I say some sort of positive mindset, it's been a little rough. I'm not gonna lie. This has been really rough this time around. And I've really been struggling with depression. And part of it is adrenal fatigue symptoms. And I am not sure how much I actually have talked about adrenal fatigue on here. I know I have before, but I think that I didn't realize how much it was affecting my mood and just my overall experience of topical steroid withdrawal this time. I'm definitely feeling more extreme adrenal fatigue symptoms this time around. And I think the reason why I didn't realize how much it was affecting me is because in the beginning of this process, like in June, July, it was very apparent that like, I was like, I'm depressed, something's wrong. And I started taking supplements for adrenal fatigue and I started to feel better. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm better. Like I'm good. but it doesn't really work like that. Even though I felt like, you know, things were on the up and up and I was doing better. I was, but there's still a lot that I'm dealing with. And also I'm a pretty like independent person, a pretty self-motivated person. And so I've been struggling with like, why can't I get things done that I know I can do? Like they're very simple tasks in my mind. I know I can do them, but they feel like these like huge mountains that I can't climb. And I've been struggling with like, am I lazy? Like what's going on? And finally, after talking with my therapist and naturopath, I realized like, oh, this is like adrenal fatigue stuff. That's like part of the reason why everything seems so difficult right now. And so it's kind of been this vicious cycle of like feeling like I can't perform like I normally do, and then and that's because of adrenal fatigue, and then being depressed because I feel like I'm not doing what I can do. So it's just been this like cycle of like negative emotions. So I think like realizing what was going on was a big step, and also just accepting like this is the way that I feel right now, and that's okay. That's been a big thing for me, because I often go like, why are you feeling like this? Like, get it together, or like, what's wrong with you? Instead of just being like, I feel this way right now, and that's okay. And once you acknowledge and accept those emotions, then you can actually like process them and move forward instead of just avoiding them. So there's been a lot going on. I also have started performing just a little bit again. You know, my goal was to definitely like, I want to be healed before I start working again. But I think that not performing was adding to the depression and like the feeling of just like, what's going on? What am I doing right now? And so I think performing, doing little things like that has been really helpful. It does cause a little bit of stress because, of course, you know, I'm thinking about the way that I'm looking on stage and like having to put on makeup. And after like literally the first performance I did, I had a horrible flare the next day. So I have woken up and my eye is swollen. And I already had a sty on this eye, but the rest of this eye is swollen, but this one especially. I'm also very dry. Maybe this lighting isn't the best. But anyways, it's what's going on, and I'm not sure what triggered it. I put makeup on yesterday, but makeup doesn't normally do this, although I will say my skin was like very inflamed yesterday, so maybe that's what it was. I also, the event that I was at last night, New Flowers was there, which is a gluten-free bakery, and they had, they were giving out food, and so they had gluten and dairy-free brownies in these little cupcakes, but they were still sweetened with cane sugar, and I tried them anyways. And so I'm wondering if that is from cane sugar. But my eyes haven't swollen up like this for months. And I'm just like, and I haven't gotten styes for months, or maybe not months, a month. And maybe it's the cane sugar. Please believe I won't eat any more now. But I'm just really annoyed. So this is the day before the show, and you can see my skin is clearing up, and here lots of discoloration even with makeup on. This is a day or two afterwards, so lots of puffiness, dryness. It was very, very itchy and uncomfortable. Even with my eyes closed, you can see that they're swollen here. And this is the next day, and you can see all the discoloration on my forehead. So this calmed down after a few days, but this is what I was going through probably for like a week after the performance. And that was just really frustrating because it was like, okay, I finally felt like my skin was getting better. And so I said, okay, I'm going to perform. I'm going to do this. And then the next day I flared up. And so it was just like kind of like a punch in the gut. But the performance went really well. So I'm just going to continue to do it. And I've performed going through this before, and of course it's not ideal, but at this point, I'm just trying to do anything and everything that's going to lift my spirits and also help me to feel more like myself. I sang today at a luncheon, and so I like finally did something to my hair and put on makeup. My skin has been doing better, not healed. You can't, if you look, you can see, yeah, you can see there's still a lot of discoloration and like splotchiness that makeup doesn't even cover. And like my eyes are still like, I like have visible eczema underneath my eyes. Like in the morning, it's like very dry there. So there's a lot going on still, but my skin is feeling like smoother than it has in a really long time. And the only thing I've really changed, I'm trying to make sure I'm not lying, but I'm pretty sure the only thing I've really changed is I've started taking this propolis, I believe that's how you pronounce it, tincture. And there's no label, no directions. My cousin got it at a barter fair. And so I was kind of nervous to take it, but it's antimicrobial. And I still have staph infection. Like I got like results back from the doctor, and we're still waiting for results for something else. But I was like, you know, it can't hurt. And it hasn't been, so I'm going to continue to take it. Yeah, that's what's going on with my skin. I still have like, there's like light patches on the back of my knees, and it's still very inflamed, and like my arms, my chest, my face, my hands, all the usual areas, I guess. As far as like energy wise and mentally and emotionally, my sleep patterns are not consistent. Sometimes I'm able to sleep, and sometimes I'm up until 5 in the morning, sometimes 8 a.m. That's happened before. So I think the reason why my energy fluctuates so much is because I'm not sleeping. I'm not on a regular schedule, and I need to work on going to bed earlier and like getting on a better schedule. But I think being tired also affects my emotions with the adrenal fatigue. And so I just feel like I've still been on a roller coaster of emotions. Sometimes I'm okay. Sometimes I'm just not, to be quite frank. Yesterday was rough. And I like started the day fine, and then something happened that triggered me. And I just like spiraled downward, and then I popped back up for a second and then spiraled back down. And then by the end of the day, I was okay, but that's kind of what it's been like. And you know, with adrenal fatigue, it's, you're unable to respond to stress well, basically. So stressful situations that maybe normally wouldn't affect you have a deeper impact. So that's kind of what I've been dealing with. I think also the realization with how adrenal fatigue has been affecting me has also just made me realize that I have to be kinder to myself in this process. And it just goes along with what I was saying about like, why am I feeling like this? Or like, why can't I do these things? But it's like, I'm going through a really big thing right now. And even though like it's frustrating because whenever I look in like the camera, I'm like, you really can't see what's going on, but it's been really bad. And like to the point where there's nights where like I'm sitting up in bed scratching, like, you know, the scratching is not as bad as it used to be in the beginning of this process, to the point where like I was crying. But like there have been times, even just earlier this week, I was leaving the naturopath and like driving and itching like crazy, and I had to bring myself back to the breathing exercises because I felt like I was this close. I was like on the verge of tears, and I went back to the breathing, and it kind of like distracted me and even calmed the itching down. But it's like sometimes it's just unbearable, and it's just frustrating, to be honest. But yeah, so I'm working on being kinder to myself, and what I've been doing every day is just taking stock of, okay, what did you do today that was positive? Like what were your wins today, and what can you do better tomorrow? So like yesterday I was like, okay, I got up, I ate healthy food, I had the energy to go see friends and go see a movie, I worked on the blog a little bit, another day, like, you know, I did yoga. So it's even like just really, really little things, just celebrating every little small victory, and then saying, okay, what did I do today that I could do better in the future? And I think that's really just been helping me to put everything in perspective. Instead of being like, well, why didn't you do this, and this, and having these huge, I used to have these huge to-do lists of everything that I wanted to do, but really just scaling it down and celebrating every small victory, like taking all the supplements I'm supposed to take, or doing my breathing exercises, doing yoga, like that is good. I feel like this whole process has really been challenging in changing my mindset and the way that I approach things, but I think it's also been very helpful. And I think in the long run, it's going to be extremely helpful for me. Another thing that I've been doing, I actually kind of fell off, but I started doing daily affirmations, which is really, really helpful, and something that like, it can feel kind of hokey sometimes to like look in the mirror and like look yourself in the eye and like say things, but I think it's important because what we say, we believe and we become. And so I'm really working on replacing negative thoughts with more positive ones, like acknowledging, okay, that negative thought is there, I see you, I hear you, but let's work on changing that to something more positive and productive. And then as far as my diet is concerned, that's still a thing that I'm just like, I don't know what to do anymore. I'm just gonna be completely honest. I don't know what to do anymore. So the things that I know I shouldn't do: sugar, alcohol, gluten, dairy, canola oil, vegetable oils, corn, soy. Those are the things that I stay away from because I know they're no good for the gut. Any sort of processed food, even like the healthy processed foods, even though I eat them sometimes, they're really not the best for you. So I'm trying to like build up my habit of cooking again. Sometimes I really just don't feel like doing it, but I've been a lot better about it this week and like last week. So just trying to be better about that, because when you're cooking, you know what you're putting in your body. It's really as simple as that. When you go out to eat, you just don't know. Supplements that I'm taking, that's what I did. I'm taking all the same ones that I already was. Probiotic, GI Revive to help heal the gut, bioadrenal, and adrenal something plus for adrenal fatigue, pancreatic enzymes for digestion. Also, I never really talk about this, but I have chronic sinus issues and like congestion issues, and I'm pretty sure I've had a sinus infection since like March. So if you read my blog post about the show that I produced, I had a sinus infection then, and they put me on antibiotics, and of course I didn't want to take them, but I was like, I have to get rid of this because I have a show and I have to sing, and I had a horrible reaction to it. And so I've still been dealing, like, my sinus issues are kind of just constant. And so even when if I do have a sinus infection, it just kind of feels like this is what it always is, but it's been worse lately. So I've been doing neti pot, and the naturopath has told me to add matcha powder and golden seal root powder along with like the salt that I use in the neti pot to help kill the bacteria. So I guess I'll update you guys on how that's going next time. There has been somewhat of an improvement, but that has also been keeping me up at night sometimes, just because there's so much congestion, and like I feel it in my chest and my throat, and like I'm coughing up stuff. Sorry, it's gross, but it's true. So yeah, that's kind of like a constant issue that I don't know, I never really talk about, I guess because the skin is more, I mean, I don't know. I don't know why I never talk about that. But yeah, with like topical steroid withdrawal, your whole system is just out of whack. So you have more allergies than the average person. Usually food sensitivities are like super heightened. Adrenal fatigue, as I've talked about, in sinus issues, and eczema is often linked with like asthma and allergies. So yeah, that's another thing that I'm dealing with. But I will update you on how doing the neti pot is going. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this update. I hope to get another blog post up before the year is over, but I'm not sure, but I'm going to try. But if not, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, happy Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah, all the things, and happy New Year. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon.